So, friends, welcome to this in Sci'versation with Prash. I'm greatly honored to have Sivaramaiah Nallapeta, alias Sheev, who is my, I would say, one of the best friends, and I've taken a lot of inspiration from him over the last 12 years I've known him, and more to that, one of the most important things with Shiv is never he has got in a wonderful never say die attitude. I'll tell you, some of the successful stories that he has probably achieved over his lifetime. But one of the most important things about Shiv is when we really look into his capabilities, he has defined himself towards path-breaking career graph. Ever since he has taken up his masters, ever since he has graduated into PhD, he always said that he would definitely meet into the requirements of industry, and that is how he has defined his success. He knew where he wanted to become the next 10 years, even before he graduated from his PhD. He is a BSc undergraduate from Sri Krishnadevaraya University, and then he went on to do his masters from Chaudhary Charan Singh Haryana Agriculture University, and then he obtained his PhD from Birla Institute of Technology, Mestra, where most of the time he has done his PhD working under the guidance of Dr. Krishna Mohan, who is also my mentor at Birla Institute of Scientific Research, Jaipur, where I am currently in. And if after my 12 years of staying away, if I'm really back to India, Jaipur, that is because of kind recommendation of Shiv. Needless to mention that. And then he joined Onan Biotech. In fact, he's also the Bioclues executive team member of Bioclues, which I co-founded. And it so happened that he got his first grant ever since he just submitted his PhD. So that's a quite fascinating thing. We have rare breeds where we have. We get to have some kind of fellowships or some kind of grants only during postdoctoral heydays. But Shiv got his first grant from being in IKP Knowledge Park, where he's also associated, and then through Onan Biotech he got his first grant. He successfully graduated from that particular project, and then he joined Bruker Daltonics. Bruker Daltonics is one of the well-known proteomics-based companies. And then over the last 4 years, he has been associated with Nanotemper Technologies, which is based in World Trade Park, Bangalore, but its headquarters is in Germany. So before I introduce Shiv and probably take some of the other things, what is most important thing about Shiv is he has sustained his career graph by staying in industry, so as you could see, and he has wonderful adorable parents. So as you can see from this photograph, his parents live with him in Kurnool. Happy to meet his parents as well, and he has got a wonderful family in the form of Mrs. Lakshmi. It is wonderful son in Nayan. In the form of yeah, please go ahead.
I'm really sorry to come back to the same things again and again. So you can see my wife and my son here. So yeah, these are some pictures. Prashant, you like to say something on that, or you ask me something to tell?
Yes, Shiv, I think, you moved to Bruker and Nanotemper Technologies. So how good was your experience? And can you just show or tell us, what are these pictures about with the CEOs? Yeah.
Okay. The one which you see on the extreme right side with the Frank Lokin, he is the CEO of the broker, the complete broker. So we had been doing one, what do you call this, the lab inauguration in 2014. So I happened to meet him personally, and it was really a very good interaction with him. So before meeting him, I was thinking so much about him, like what should I start and why should what should I talk about myself or something. But he's very nice, as I understand that the people go to the next levels, they become more sublime and they become more calm, and they are very nice to interact with each other. So that's one best thing I really loved from him. And this is one of the picture which we took at the party in 2015. And on the other side, left side, he's a CEO for the company, and this is he's Stefan, my current company CEO from Nanotemper Technologies. So you can know him. He's 35-year-old guy who is young, who started a company in 26 years, and now he's one of the most successful person. I'm very glad to work this kind of a people who themselves gives a lot of motivation. At the end of the day, with whom you're working is always matters. The boss is so good that they understand and they really want to nurture you. So fortunately, I got this kind of bosses in my career. So I'm really very happy to work with them, and I put all the best efforts to make sure. And maybe this one uh, from few memories with BISR, where I did my PhD. As you can see here, Prashant, he's a guy whom I know since maybe more than a decade now. So we had been frequently meeting, we had been frequently scientifically getting connected with a lot of collaborations, a lot of other discussions at different levels. And these are my colleagues at BISR during my PhD. And maybe these are just some random pictures of what you can see here. As a nanotemper company, we do a lot of skill development programs to educate people and also to know about the latest technologies in biomolecular interactions. So one of that was done in Imtech Chandigarh.
Perfect. I think thank you so much, Sheev, for this wonderful introduction. So Sheev, if you really look back, what's amazing, with you is you always wanted to enrich yourself, for industry. You never thought of, what do you call, being academia. So what made you to take up, industry as your research goal?
Okay, maybe here I was slightly very personal. Since I have a problem with the mobility, right from the day one, I was thinking I want to be somewhere, traveling, meeting different people. I want to be physically more active. So that was the only, I don't know whether the stupid or a good reason. So I decided that, instead of coming to the academics, I want to move in the industry so I can have some good networkings and I can travel, I can meet different people. So that has slightly motivated me. And then in that perspective, I started looking to the industry after my PhD. And slightly, although there were some good opportunities to be in the academia, I felt that industry might be more challenging or more interesting. Maybe I cannot say it's a challenging. Challenging is everywhere, but I thought it would be of more of my interest because I felt the communications, the kind of the leadership qualities that can be more seen. So I just moved to the industry. So I feel sometimes, oh, was it good to go back to the academia or something like that? But still, I feel industry is equally good.
Right, right. So Shiv, I mean, you are absolutely a bravado. I know you're being, fiscally challenged right from your early days. But I'm sorry, to use this, but the young generation should really
That's
take a
fine.
kind of inspiration for this. And then, I remember Shiv was in Denmark, and unfortunately, our apartment at that point of time, I invited him, for a lunch, and our apartment in Denmark was in the third floor. And Shiv, I mean, unfortunately there was no lift, for that, huge building. That's a good old, Danish building. And Shiv had to climb, twice or thrice. I requested him, and he said that, Prash, you're my host, and you are kindly invited, for a lunch. And in fact, tears, rolled on my cheeks, when he took, Herculean efforts in putting himself in all the way, towards the third floor. And what is quite amazing with Shiv is a never say die attitude guy, and he would always say yes. He says that it is achievable for any kind of goals that he really wanted to take up, and he would also bring a kind of a huge smile. Whenever he mentors his students. I remember Shiv and I had a common friend in the form of Ranganath, who was his junior, and that was how we met for the first time, probably in 2009.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
also in the chat now.
Oh, I see. Oh, welcome, Ranga. So,
Thank you.
and
Thank you for
then
hosting this.
yeah, and that was how we met, and we did a kind of a virtual project on fungome, and that was how for the first time I was acquainted with fungal biology with Shiv and Ranga, and then we developed a kind of a database, and we did a lot of protein interactions and all. But taking these inspirations and aspirations aside, so Shiv, what fascinated you to take up, the enzymology or proteomics as a part of your PhD? What was really going through your mind when you finished your masters?
Yeah, Prashant, as everyone, I also had a challenges. The moment I completed my masters, I was looking for a job. So unfortunately, I couldn't get any job. I was in a big dilemma. So is it that because of my physical problem, I'm not finding a job, or is it that I'm not qualified enough to get into the industry or any job? So then it took 1 year. So I was completely paused for 1 year, and then again I realized that having more qualification is much better than just trying at this position. So I was started scouting for the PhD positions, and I'm very fortunate enough to get into the BISR. And Dr. Krishnamohan, who is a mentor and who is a real role model to me, there I didn't have much of thinking why I should do proteomics or why I should do genomics or something like that. It is just luckily Professor Krishnamon had that particular project, and then I started into it. But it's good that the proteomics was emerging that time in 2000, early 2000. The 2D gels, mass spectrometry, they are something very new in India. So the people were looking onto it as a very good tools to derive the characterization information. So I just got the opportunity. There's nothing that I was very choosy to do that at this, to be honest. So since at the time I didn't have even my CSR fellowship also. So it is just that it was Dr. Krishnamohan's vision that he always wanted the new technologies and new things to be accessible to the people to do work very efficiently. So in that context, I got into that work, and then slowly things fall into the pace. But of course, there were a lot of challenges since there are new techniques, the guidance in terms of whatever you can say, the references, everything was slightly very challenging. But it's good that everything fell in place, and now I see the proteomics has become such a common tool. Even all the diagnostics in all the industries now, without proteomics, the no work is going on. If you go to any biopharma company, so the work starts with the protein characterization. Although you have the genomic work and everything, but still the expression, characterization, mass spectrometry, all these things have become so important and so critical in any characterization. So I really feel good, and I'm really very happy that I got some expertise or experience in that proteomics, which is very challenging. So that's how it has just started to getting into that. In terms of doing the work, yes, there was some so physically I never felt there was any problem, to be honest. Maybe just an habituated, if you have some problem right from the beginning, then you overlook it. That's the tendency of any person. So you just see the other side of it. So I never looked onto that problem. And then the best part in my life is I got a very good friends, I got a very good people around me who were always very friendly, who were supporting me, who were never looked me differently. That's one best thing. So these all things actually kept me very high. And even today, unless somebody sees for the first time, I get that feeling. But as such, if I see the people who have already seen me, I even don't think about it. I even don't get any feel of it, I have something with me or something like that. So it's all because of all the people around me who made me like that.
Yeah, that's been a wonderful spirit, Shiv. Thank you for putting in. But there's also another slight sad story of this as well. I think you had a big jolt in Jaipur when you met with a major accident, and yet you're always positive. So what is that? What is that? Please tell us, what is that positive drive in you? When someone is already facing with this, of course, which you would never put it in your brain or put it in your mind, and again meeting an accident, that too at the helm of your PhD. You
Right.
might have faced a lot of problems at that point of time. So what was that? Yeah,
Yeah,
how,
Prashant, to be honest, yeah, yes, you are right. Like I had a very major accident. For 6 months, I was almost bedridden. I couldn't even remember what was my work, what was my last experiment I did. So I was like so much lost with all these things. But as I said, it's just all my friends and my parents, my family members were with me. They were like, giving me a lot of motivation. That's fine. Things can go on. The first thing is first you need to live. So it was such a tough times I had it, but somehow I just and all my well wishers, friends who were around, who made me to realize that it is nothing. So it is just a bad phase of the life. It just comes and passes away. So it's all about the people who were around me who made it like that. So that's
right,
it.
right, wonderful. So if you really look back, Shiv, soon after your PhD, you landed up in Onan Biotech. So,
Right.
how was your experience, working in Onan, and what was the nature of your job then?
Yeah. See, I joined Onan, it was a startup company. One of my very close friend in my masters has started that company. So we just had a discussion that it is something that you have to work on your own. We cannot even give you money unless you are able to generate some revenue to the company. So it was the kind of that situation. So even I felt it is a challenge. Okay, so an entrepreneur, let us see how it goes on. So that time even I don't have any financial liabilities or any commitments, to be honest, so far. So then I took a challenge. Okay, Narsima, I'm going to join you, and then we can do something. So there, my prior work was on the proteomic, developing some proteomic kits, protein solubilization, protein quantitation, how you make some good quality of kits for like to detection any kind of diseases. It can be cancers, it can be HIV or something like that. So we started slowly manufacturing the customized kits based on the samples and based on the common diseases what we have in India. So we were very successful. We had a lot of commercialization in that, but unfortunately the company couldn't survive because of some other reasons. It's not just because of these particular things. So I was basically looking into the complete the division of the molecular diagnostics. So right from the sample you get it, you do the DNA extraction. Other team used to do a PCR and then just do the validation, and then it goes to the reports to the patients. So then you need to explain them, and you need to tell them like on what method this has been done and all this stuff. So it is basically a more of a molecular diagnostics, and its expertise on PCR, real time PCR, and some molecular biology was that work I was doing that time.
Right, right. I mean, very, very interesting, Shiv. But if you really see over the last probably 1.5 decades, proteomics has really, completely changed, and probably, we have come with the erstwhile native proteomic-based approaches to the current biomolecular interactions. So, and I think over the last two companies that you have been in, there have been the world famous or well-known, proteomic based companies. One is Bruker Daltonics, which are well-known, for mass spectrometry based entities. And the current nanotemper technologies for which you are the head of India, you have been, spearheading the biomolecular interaction based approaches. So could you please tell the audience what's the main focal point of these two proteomic-based approaches? So where is the inherent strength of these two approaches, that you can see here?
Yeah. Let's see. The first thing was mass spectrometry. I'm sure everybody is aware of it. So mass spectrometry is such a common tool to characterize anything. So when you have a mixture of proteins, you want to know what kind of protein is, or you have any diseased on a healthy sample, and you wanted to know which protein is responsible for causing the disease. So it's all a biomarker discovery. So the proteomics, particularly the mass spectrometry, is very crucial. So I developed this expertise, as I said, like in the Bruker company, like we used to support various customers across India. So every customer has a different kind of application. Somebody was working on post-translational modifications. So that a small protein get a PTM or phosphorylated, the function changes. The moment the function changes, the cell cycle, the cell signaling, everything changes. So such a all crucial kind of studies or very important studies can be is supported by mass spectrometry, and I was very glad. And it was completely a learning process for me that every day, every time I meet a customer, I have a new challenge. I have a new case. Like somebody was working with the animals, somebody was working with the plants, somebody was working with microbes. So everybody was working on different applications. Somebody was working on sequencing, somebody was working on some other applications. Somebody has a biomarker discovery in a cancer patients. So if you run a proteomic profile of a cancer and a non-cancerous patient, so how you identify the markers, what are the statistical tools you do it. So there is a lot of challenges, and the work was very interesting and exciting. I'm sure like most of the people who are here must be aware now proteomics is taking a front. It's not emerging now, it's already emerged. So now it is becoming indispensable. Now it is coming to the every field. So after proteomics, it was like, for me, since I was in the company, the learning phase is always there. Like, as I said, the challenges with the different customers and other stuff. But for me, other than learning, I was more keen to be as an independent person. So there I got an opportunity with work with Nanotemper, where I joined as a head business operations. Keeping my technical skills aside, here I'm just like more into the company business development and taking the people to know about this technology. Like it's a more of a technically making people aware of the company. So in terms of applications, it is not any other kind of thing. And biomolecular interactions, protein stability, these are something a biophysical tools that are very important as much as proteomics. Like once in the proteomics, you characterize your protein, and it's critically important to characterize them, like the biophysical methods, like where it interacts, how it interacts, and what is the stability, and what is their binding affinities. So this is something I felt a good combination of proteomics and biophysical tools can be a wonderful thing to have a bigger picture. So there was a time, or there was a stage that it was very difficult decision for me to come out of the mass spec world. But still I came to this biophysical characterization. Still there is an overlap of lot of works, like the person who is working on mass spectrometry can still do the biophysical characterization. So it is just like that. So I'm still enjoying my work, and as I said, like it's completely a learning process. Every day I learn something new. I learn. So this is something which keep me high and which keeps me more motivated to okay, let's see what's the next application we need to do it, how I can actually support my customers. It's not just my customers. Like if you have any, say for suppose I had been working with you, so you had a specific concern, like you had your specific RNA interaction with your DNA or protein. So addressing specifically with every customer is something, a challenge. I love it, and I really wanted to get deep into this. Although I'm not directly involved in the research, but still the research motivates me because, like the PhD, all this process, I had been a very active researcher.
Right, perfect, Sherman. Thank you for this wonderful insertion. So, Sheev, the current generation, if we really say, there is only one kind of mindset to stick to academia. Of course, there are a few, who really want to become entrepreneurs as well. So, if you really see the current academic mindset, the students, that are heralding, their research navigations. Why is that very few are really moving towards industry? What is that thing that is really missing in the current generation? Can you please elaborate?
Yeah, maybe I can start with my generation. Now I think it's more than 10 years I did my PhD. So for sure, the new generation, the new people are completely different now. See, I felt, it's again my personal feeling, what I'm telling, the lack of guidance. So the moment you are in a PhD, you are more into the lab work. You are more like, entangled with all your research and the next day what you need to do. And honestly, you are not aware what is happening in the industry unless your topic has some relevance with the industry. So basically, most of the research is in the basic sciences, what I can say. So we are not aware what is happening in the industry. We don't know what exactly the industry needs. So this is one of the reason I felt this is a gap. One of the reason, like, many people are not moving towards the industries, but I see now the industry is also equally growing up. So that no new companies are formed up, and many number of teams, many number of people are joining it up, and all kind of exciting work is also happening. Even if you go to the Biocon or something, it's not just the industrial work. A lot of discovery work, that is what you call it, the research work, is also happening. So I feel the gap of what industry is doing is more important to know, and the people to take up their career chances in that way.
Right. I think this is very well framed, Shiv. Thank you. Shiv, over the last, I would say, 10, 12 years, if you really see the industrial market is not really great. I mean, even if you take the proteomics, even if you take the next generation sequencing, where there's a hefty competition, that is really going now. Do you see a lot of mediocrity in these companies, or is it because there are no good support staff or scientific staff in industry that is really taking down these industry to a less market in India at least?
Prashant, well, as I said, like every time I'm just giving my personal opinion by experience, by I'm seeing the industry is all. So industry, I see majorly there are two different kind of opportunities. One is the instrument selling company. So where a person joins as an, generally an application specialist, and then he move on. And the other is just the industry where they do a production, they have some recombinant protein production, they have some particular product, they need to have a complete production process, so they need a technical people. And third is the discovery and the production. So like this, the industry is actually scattered in a different bits, and not a bits, I can say it's scattered in a different parts. Many people doesn't know so where they fit in. Sometimes a person who want to go into the R&D joins to a company like an instrument selling company. So although he is good, but his expertise is not fitting there. So like this, because of all this, disconnects, we feel that, as you said, it's a mediocritic or whatever you feel, there's a lot of disconnect there. But I still feel that, if the person is really aligned where he want to go, what he want to do, and what kind of job role fits to him, if he's able to decide that in the beginning, or if he's able to develop that kind of work in the process, then I don't see this kind of any challenges in the industry. Now I see industry and academia are equally good, and I say no reason that industry is bad, because in terms of giving money, in terms of the infrastructure, for us the first thing in India is like infrastructure. As long as you have an infrastructure, you can do wonders. So how many people have a mass specs? How many people have a very sophisticated instruments to do a good research? So I see now industry is actually meeting that standards, and now we have equally both in industry as well as in academia. But for me, I don't see both are as separate. But for the industry, yes, you need to be much aware where you fit in and what expertise is needed and where you fit in. All these things need to be prior decided to take a best step in the industry. And of course, India is doing very good in terms of the biotech business now. And biosimilars, you take it, or you take it anything now, we are growing very high. We are competing directly with all the major players in the world. So I see the biotech industry is going to flourish more and more. And I see there is no reason that this can go down, or there is no reason of why somebody is not able to go in unless he's very much clear with what he want to.
Right. Wonderful.
I don't know whether I answered your question or not, Prashant.
No. That was what, this is where, the student community can really take a leaf from your points, Shiv. Thank you so much for answering it. So, Shiv, if we really look back over the last 12 years of your, post-doctoral career, you have worked amazingly on lactases. You have purified a lot of proteins. You have been instrumental in taking, these particular enzymes, to the baseline end product as well. So, what do you think, is your biggest achievement so far?
Nothing as such, Prashant. For me now, even this moment is the biggest achievement for me, to be honest. It's less like, when you open up with your colleagues, when you talk about the science, then you get a real feeling that, okay, you are talking something which is in your blood. So for me, in terms of achievement, to be honest, I think I don't know what else is still left for. I really felt so good when I was able to streamline the complete lacquers production to the industry level. Unfortunately, as I said, during my transition from academia to industry, I could not take it to the next level. But I was very happy as a part of my PhD, I could completely develop a method for a lacquers enzyme and how it can be used in the industry. So that was something what I was feeling like, whatever we do some work, it should have some, end application. If it is in the industry, then it's the biggest thing that can happen. So
Right.
for me, I felt the lacquers was actually led me to that level. But unfortunately, I could not actually cope up, or I could not take it up to the next level. It's just because I was moving away from the research to the industry. But still, I feel that is one of the best thing that has happened to me. So I completely understand the process, how the industry wanted and how the academia can give that kind of quality of the thing what they really wanted in.
Right, perfect, Shiv. I think but have you ever thought that probably you could have probably achieved this particular goal given this particular scenario? Have you ever thought that you have any unmet goals in your life?
Yes, Prashant, this actually always goes on. Always for me also, I dream to be a researcher, being in the lab and then do something, which is very useful. It's that science and society, they exist together. So as long as you do something in science that is useful for the society, it's good. So I always have that in my mind, that's whatever I do or whatever we all do, it should be somewhere useful for the society. So it's a very broad term, but for sure, like if something happens like that, I feel like that would be the biggest achievement of my life.
Right, perfect. So Shiv, if you really take a look back, have you at any point of time had any disagreements with your colleagues or with your bosses? And if at all, if there were disagreements, I'm sure as scientists we would definitely probably disagree. So how did you take up these disagreements in an agreeable way with your colleagues? Can you give one small example? So that we'll take inspiration, especially the youngsters, because the population need to take a lot of lessons.
See, Prashant, as I said, in everyone's life, at different phases, you have a different people. At one phase, as I said, during my PhD, Dr. Krishna Mohan. So, hello, can you listen to me?
Yeah, please, yeah.
Yeah. So he's a kind of person. He reads more. So what I realized from him and what I learned from him was the reading is the best way of sharing knowledge. So that is one way what I learned. And I'm also glad, now my other boss, Dr. Vinod Digam, is also on the line. I'm very glad that he joined this meeting. So for him, working in the lab is one kind of a thing for him. That is a passion. So he works like a student, even more than a student, I can tell. So it is always what we take from different people like that. With Dr. Krishnamon, I learned that more you read, more you are becoming technical. And with Dr. Nigam, I learned that more you work, more you are going to gain something practical knowledge. So it is like that. For them, there are different kind of disagreements. A few things. It's like you just take the quality what you like from others. So for me, I always see what I liked it, just take it. Don't worry about the other things. So there are so many other things. Even somebody don't like me, others don't like everything of what I do. So what you like it, you just absorb. Rest of the things, you just ignore them. So one thing I learned is reading is a very good habit. And if you really want to do something, you have to get onto the table. You have to work across the table. Then only you can make something. So both are to be balanced to get the output in a very better way or a nice scientific way.
Right. Perfect, Shiv. In fact, I'm sure, KM and Vinod sirs are indeed very proud of you. And so am I,
Nothing like that.
For the reason being that I've been associated with you. As you could see, Vinod sir, he says that I'm still a student. That's how.
That's what I'm saying. That even now, I trust me. Even now, he works at the table. So he goes. He has put a fermenter. He goes at so and so time, and he collects the sample. He sees everything. So even till today, I feel when a person I'm sure he is having such a nice track record of publications, so many things. When he can do, why we are not doing? We feel guilty sometimes. So this is something I learned from him. If you want to do something, you have to work across the table. And if you want to work across the table, you must read first. Without reading, you cannot come to the table. So it is something always like, you take good things from all the people, and from you I have seen like you are so constantly, you are on one particular thing. That's one good thing. So like when you are constantly working on one thing, I'm sure like anyone can achieve anything. So this kind of perseverance is very important, is what I feel.
Right, right. Thank you, Shiv. So our focus is slightly moving towards other direction now. In
Sorry.
fact,
Yeah.
I'm a bit envious about Shiv on many ways because he's a big travel maniac. I remember,
Yes,
at
true.
some point of time, every third day or every second day, he would be in the flight. And whenever I would call him, I would probably ask him in which country he is at some point of time.
No,
Of course,
not that much.
I was also a big travel maniac. I also had been to about so-called 90 plus countries. But we
Oh my
used to
God.
compete at some point of time. I was traveling probably as a PhD fellow, as a postdoc at some point of time. But Shiv has been invited to so many places in India. I mean, with his what do you call interest, and with his enthusiasm, he would always go out. He would always enjoy giving his talks, taking his kind of learning lessons, discuss about the industrial entities, about his company or whatever, and all. So the reason why I'm telling you this particular thing is, industry demands a lot of commitment, which probably Shiv has seen taking this as a kind of a passion. So Shiv, if you ask someone, or if you want to give an advice to some young brethren today,
Prashant, sorry, can you repeat the last line? I just missed your line. There was some network.
uh,
Just the last line.
yeah. So what I was saying is, Shiv, if you want to take up, give a kind of an advice to young brethren today, okay, on how to take up, the industrial jobs in terms of, traveling, because there are many people, you're of course, you're also doing a kind of a marketing or business operations, being a scientist. But the
Right.
current generation are a bit hesitant, to take up these kind of jobs, manifold, because they feel a bit hesitant because they don't really want to travel, or they really don't want to shell out their particular commitments, towards travel, towards idea generation and all. So, what advice would you give to the young generation, Chef, if at all
Yeah.
they want to take up such jobs? Yeah.
Prashant, it's all about the passion, what one has. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I had a passion to travel. I had a passion to meet people. I had a passion to face the challenges. What somebody asks, I should know. I should be ready for that. So I personally feel like, everybody has some kind of a passion. So if that has to be taken out, it has to come out in the right way. So if somebody is not interested in traveling, somebody is not interested for giving a lot of commitments, then for sure, then they need not look at the industry. They need to look at something else. So first, you please try to understand what exactly you want to do, where you actually fit, which actually gives a happiness to you, which will give some kind of sense of satisfaction. So sometimes, during traveling, I get tired, but still it gives me a sense of satisfaction. I've been across like 20 countries so far. And, as you said, like, there were times like, on one single day, I was in 3 major cities. The time, although it is very tiring, I enjoyed it. I felt, oh, there's something great. So one should know what actually appeals them. One should know what actually excites or motivates them. For me, it was like, as I said, like traveling was one of it, and then talking to the different people, meeting different people, and talking to them was something which keeps me alive. So if I don't see now, for the past lockdown 3-4 months, I'm sitting here, so I feel like, I'm a bit suffocated. Okay, I should go out and then do it. So if anybody wants to really join the industry, traveling is not for sure must. As I said, only few jobs require this kind of traveling, and you need to know what industry is doing and whether your expertise fits there or not. So that's the question. If you're able to address it, I'm sure everything is rest is easy, and they can keep going.
Right, right. So how has COVID changed your life, Shiv? I mean, I know it's a big setback, for many scientists and also for the industry.
Right,
How
right,
about your
Prashant.
company? How
Yeah,
is it
to be
affecting?
honest, in terms of the company, I should say that we had been more successful than than expected. Then because of COVID, we thought every work will go dormant and then we'll not be able to do anything. But because of all these virtual meetings, all these digital marketing activities, we got very active. We started doing webinars to our people. We started educating people. We started training our colleagues. We started, making a more technically. We started training them. So I felt that this time has been a good that we utilized all our colleagues in the best spirit to educate them and also to meet the customers and educate by giving them webinars. And then for that we had been preparing it on a different topics, like in this time we talk about neurodegenerative diseases, we talk about glycoproteins, we talk about so many other different topics, like even vaccine development, how biophysical tools will help in vaccine, how the protein stability matters. So all these kind of topics we started preparing some kind of a slide decks and start giving it to them. So it was really good. I felt that even like this also the time can be utilized in a best way. So it's all about how you are presenting and what you are making it happen. So I really felt it was good.
Great.
And I also utilized this time to do some the leadership courses. So this was an ideal time for me to learn myself and have something into my CV. So I felt really good, to be honest. Other than not going outside, I felt suffocated, but the time was very much well utilized, and now I'm very used to. I'm not sure, like once everybody start going outside, how much time again I might take to again get into the normal. But I'm thoroughly enjoying this, to be honest, both in terms of doing work. That's more important.
Right. Perfect. Yeah. So I mean, if you really see into the industry parameters, Sheev, in terms of next generation sequencing, at some point of time we were talking about RNA-seq or transcriptome shotgun sequencing, where we would probably infer the differential express genes. And if you really take an analogy, we would probably assume that the differential express genes could also be their corresponding proteins could also be differentially expressed as well. Right, so and now come post next generation sequencing, we are talking about something called single cell transcriptomics, and there are also single cell mass spectrometry based approaches as well, single cell proteomic based approaches as well. So where do you see this single cell mass spectrometrics or spatial proteomics coming into picture during the next decade?
Okay, Prashant, maybe as I said, maybe I cannot exactly tell something, but in a broader picture, yes, the future is all about the data analytics and the artificial intelligence. So now I felt AI is something taking a bigger role than what we have expected. So everything is going to be in automation. So in the proteomics, now the sample preparation, we are getting a kits, even the loading and the data analysis and getting the complete thing is going to be an automation. So this we have already started witnessing in the industries now. So I'm sure it's because of the money or because of that kind of things, we are not immediately seeing it. But I see the future is completely automation in all the technologies what you are using. It can be anything. It can be proteomics. It can be your sequencing. It can be anything. The automation and the data analytics. This is going to be very crucial. So how good the data we are going to interpret, how best we are going to utilize this data, and that's where even I feel like I'm sure the experts like bioinformatics also, of course, they are now. Very crucial, and it will become much more crucial. And other than this, artificial intelligence. Now we have seen the Microsoft Nadella has given that just by the samples what they have got from cancer patients, they are going to foresay whether the next generation will have, or if it have, when it will have. So this kind of artificial intelligence is also coming up into the future. So I'm sure this is going to be, the world is going to be completely changing. So we will not talk about the technologies. We talk something else that it will directly address what we had been dreaming so far.
Right. Yeah. I mean, thank you so much, Sheev, for this. Friends, we have a couple more questions. But if you have any quick questions for Sheev, please type in the chat box. Probably some select questions. Probably I'll ask Sheev after taking his permission. So Sheev, Sheev, if we really see. The kind of career growth of the current generation scientists. There is a simplest MSc, PhD, postdoc, and probably becoming an academic PI or something like that. So maybe if we really look into the industry, we have the industrial PI who might be really protecting their intellectual property rights and all. But as you rightly point out, we need to probably bridge the gap, right from masters till taking up, the academic career and all. So,
Right.
do you probably recommend a kind of an industrial MSc program, or maybe a person who might really be doing MSc might be educated with a 1 year full industrial program as a kind of an elective? Do you see this as a light of doing good research in India?
Absolutely, yes, Prashant. This is very much recommended. This is very much recommended. Unless until you are exposed to the industry at a the preliminary stage, you will never know what is happening. So having this kind of the dissertations in the industries and doing some training programs in the industry. So these are very much important and these are very crucial to decide one's career. So absolutely, yes, I completely agree with you. Any kind of collaborations with the industry will be very educative, very useful for all the future generations actually.
Right,
Because we have a lot of opportunities. Like, the biotech is such a broad term. So even in the food industries, we have enzymes, we have whatever. Like there's the industry is too large. So many people doesn't know this kind of opportunities exist. It is just because they are not aware of this. So having some kind of a programs where you do some dissertation in the industry or do some kind of techniques that are very common in the industry is very important. I think that is missing, and I think that should be rightly addressed moving forward. So that's very important.
Right, perfect, Shiv. So, Shiv, there are 3 questions here as of now, but since because of short of time, maybe I'll quickly ask.
Sure.
In fact, Brijesh, he stole my question actually. So
Okay.
I was about to ask. So, how do you balance work and life during PhD, especially when there is a trend of publish or perish?
I can understand. This is a very tough time. The one has to face it. There is no. I think because it is such a it becomes such a part of it. The PhD, it's very difficult to comment anything. As you said, of course, you publish it, then else you are able to perish.
Right. So, have you ever felt that you have missed teaching or research profession or academic teaching at any point of time?
Yes. Many times I feel whenever I go to the big conferences, standing on that podium, giving a talks, that actually, gives a goosebumps to me. So I still feel that, I should have been like that. So for sure, I miss those things.
Right, perfect. Sure. That was a question from Yasin, Dr. Yasin from Legume Lab. And one final question from Rashmi. She asks that, she hears that, industry mein rehte hue, you have a lot of, multiple projects that you might really want to look up. And sometimes, you might really be working across, different domains in short span of time. So how do you keep up that background for each project in a short span? How do you?
Yes.
How do you use?
Yes, this is really right. Like in the industry, you have a multiple challenges or a multiple, projects that needs to be addressed, and you have some timelines, and you need to have a lot of commitment for that. So it's for us, as you say, once you take up one work, you have a timelines. You need to end by the time, and you need to have some kind of an output from it. So it's very challenging. Sometimes we feel stressful, but we enjoy them. That's what I'm saying. As in how you grow to the next levels, you always enjoy them. So you always enjoy you are completing multitasking. So that becomes very common, as in how you grow up. It's not just you are supervising few people. At the end of the day, you are answerable for something, and after that, the output is also important, and how that output is affecting the company and your colleagues, how you are managing. So this becomes very difficult at certain point of time, but in the same way, they are challenging. So you enjoy them. By experience, you learn. So in the beginning, in the industry, looks very difficult. There's a lot of timelines, there's a lot of commitment. I'm putting a lot of time. I'm not getting enough paid. So that challenges will always prevail until you go to the next step of your career. So, but that experience will help you in the next step to handle all these pressures and all this kind of multitasking level. So, the beginning level is always challenging, but as in how you move on, you enjoy them. You feel like a responsibility and ownership. You will get that ownership. Then you enjoy that to the great extent.
Yeah, perfect, Shiv. I think that's an amazing thing. Before I ask you another one final question, probably I'll ask Vinod Nigam if he has any comment to make on Shiv, sir. Vinod,
Yes.
sir, you have any quick comment on Shiv, your wonderful mentee and your ex-colleague, please? Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Good evening to all.
Hello, sir.
Uh, how are you?
Sir, all good, sir. Fantastic. I am really
So,
so privileged that you are like I didn't expect that you'll be joining this meeting.
why?
Please, why I don't know,
Why
sir,
you
but I don't know
expected like that?
that. Please, sir,
I am
please.
in
Any
I am
question?
in your domain, so don't worry.
Okay. Any question, any comment, any complaint on me is completely
No,
accepted
no,
from you, sir.
you have already told everything about you, so there is no nothing to ask. And Dr. Prashant has already
So nice.
discussed everything. But the thing which he was a very hard worker at the BISR. We used to stay
Thank you,
even
sir.
after the office hour, and we used to have some fruitful time even after office hour. We visited some places, and though he was my subordinate, but I never discriminated that you are my junior or you are my senior, and he even regard to all, whether me or any junior researcher or any project person. So like that, I think 7 years we have worked together.
So, sir, your voice is breaking. I don't know. Your voice is muted, I guess. Yeah.
Hello,
Yeah, please. Yeah.
hello,
Yeah. Please go ahead. Yeah.
That is not successful.
hello.
Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
So we worked, Dr. Prashant, we worked almost 7 years at BISR.
Right. Yeah.
So he was having a good reputation with everybody. So that was not a question, and that's why he was trained at BISR. He was trained at the really training was during his PhD. He was trained at BISR, and then he developed his personal capability in different places.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Okay.
Prashant, I have one more small question on the chat. All hard workers are not successful. How you look at this?
Right. Yeah.
Please, what I believe is it's all about the matter of time. When we give a hard work and our efforts will never go waste. It's all matter of time. So maybe immediately you don't get a success, but for sure you will get success. But never ever look back that we did hard work and it is not paying us. So trust me, by all experience, by everyone's thing I'm saying, it's all matter of time. Sometimes some people work hard and they get the results immediately, but few people will get at a later point. But for sure you will get it, but keep trying. So that's all I can say. Hard working with sincerity is only the way to reach our goals or to be more successful. Nothing is there, no any shortcuts for this. So without hard work you cannot do anything, and time is just the matter of when you get it, but for sure
Right.
you'll get it.
Yeah, thank you, Shiv, and thank you, Vinod Sereno, for this. Shiv, I got a question from Ranga in the email, and he quotes, "I've seen you work hard in lab characterizing fungal proteins. I
Right.
helped him analyze his jelly images as well. As a pioneer in proteomic challenges, how you would define the enormous change in such protein characterization in the past decade, or do you think conventional methods are still better?"
Oh no, completely. Conventional methods for sure. They need to be aside now. So now that things are changing, there's so many quick tools to analyze and then take the data to the next level. There's so many pipelines, even the bioinformatics, to streamline all these things. So absolutely, the new techniques and new tools are very important for doing the work much faster and more efficient way. The traditional things, to some extent, they are good, but still, the new things, the new technologies, new tools are equally or maybe greater than what the traditional things are. But because in the traditional things, you always learn the basics, so that basics are very important.
Right.
So without that, for sure, you cannot handle the next level.
Right,
So
perfect. I have another sub question from Ranga as well. He says that it was physically challenging for you working on such methods for long hours. Any of these recent technologies made it less laborious with better characterization? What would you suggest to someone who wants to pick up unique approaches for testing?
Maybe, as I said, like, this automation now, like, sample preparation, everything is like very much, you put your like complete cell, it'll extract the protein, it'll do the quantification, and it'll go for the mass spec. So this kind of automation for sure has put a less physical efforts. But for me, when you're working with this kind of latest technologies, the physical effort is nothing. It's all about the scientific approach, why you are not getting results or how you are getting results, how to get the good results is more important. So there you are more stressed mentally. The physically is nothing. Like, you stand for a couple of hours, that doesn't give any strain. After that you go sit, after that you sleep, and after that you bunk for one day and then you relax. That's not a problem at all. So when you're setting up such a big experiment, you need to know what you are going to expect and what you are expecting, whether it's coming or not, why it is not coming. So looking at it in a different perspective is important than any physical stress or something like that. For sure, physically now the things have become much easier. As I said, the automation is coming up, but at the end of the day, your thought process or the scientific approach for what you want is more important.
Right, perfect, Sheev. In fact, one final question, Sheev. So, what's the biggest factor that has helped you to be successful? That is from
To be honest, I don't see I'm so successful. It just with talking to you all, it gives a lot of motivation and it gives me feel me really high today for sure. So the biggest factor is the confidence. Just have the self confidence. Whatever we are doing is right, and whatever you are doing is like has some kind of information to others. So as long as you have that confidence, as long as you feel that you can convince others, you can just make it more successful, or you can see yourself as a bigger man. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Sheev. Before we close the meeting today, do you have any questions for us, Sheev?
Nothing much, Prashant. As I said again, I just want to thank you so much, everyone. But for all of you, if you have any other questions or if you need any other kind of a guidance, I shall be glad to do that. You can just send an email to me, or you can reach me by my phone or anything like that. Because we face a lot of challenges during our getting to the job and these positions and all. So now I see this is more or less like more established. So if somebody feels a lack some kind of guidance, somebody wants to know something, so you can always talk to me. Whatever I have, whatever the contacts, whatever the people we know, I'm willing to share with you. So in science, the only thing is we need to have a lot of patience. So let's all of us develop that patience in us, and I'm sure everybody will be successful. And as I said, it's all matter of time. So today I'm here, and tomorrow you all people are somewhere else, and it's all like a cyclic process. We all keep moving to the next levels of our lives, but it's all about time. But we should not have a lot of patience in science, because science is a really great it takes a lot of time to to do something. So even if you're doing a small project work, it takes years to publish. Again, it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of effort. So it's slightly slow when compared to the other industries or other people. So be patient, and I'm sure everybody will be successful. Just keep giving your hard efforts. There is no way that we don't reach there.
Right, perfect, Sheev. So you got many very good comments from people here. One of the important.
Yes, I'm very glad to see Dr. Banu sir message. Sir, thank you so much, sir. You also inspired me so much. Although I met only a few times, but every time I meet you, I feel like more charged actually. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
You're all so much inspiring, Sheev. Thank you so much. In fact, friends, so this is the success story of Sheev, who is my good friend. I'm indeed very proud to have him as a guest today. He has taken his busy schedules. In fact, I asked him for his time way back some weeks ago. He has kindly obliged for today. And most important thing here is Sheev is always helping. So you just give him a message, you send him a kind of an email, he will definitely get back to you at any given point of time. He's also active in LinkedIn and Facebook. So at any point of time, he's always there. And he has also brought in a wonderful entities for Bioclues, both financially and as well as, from the mentoring capabilities as well. Okay, Bioclues was a part of IKP Knowledge Park at some point of time. He has really helped Bioclues, sustain, some kind of, mentoring services, write some kind of, project goals, bring in, some kind of students, towards Bioclues mentoring services, and get as many as about 20 or 30 life members through Bioclues. And still, they're also sponsoring Bioclues, every year. So that is the beauty of Sheev, and needless to mention, so please contact him at any point of time. And thank you so much, Sheev, for your time. In fact,
thank you, Prashant. Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for such a nice interactive session. And as I said, I have just shared my mobile number and my email ID. Anytime you feel that I can do something, I can guide you, or I can suggest something, please feel free to reach me. I'll be very much available. And yes, of course, for Prashant, he's very much aware. So anytime if you miss some information, you can always talk to Prashant and get back to me. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. I wish you all the best and have a great scientific year ahead for everybody. And I'm sure, as I said, just keep working. So that's the only mantra what we have. Keep working, and I'm sure we'll all get success. Everybody will get success. It's not that somebody gets success and somebody don't get it. It's all matter of time. So keep working. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sheev. And I would also like to thank Ayam, who is recording this and who has set this YouTube live page. He has been of immense helpful. Without him, this would not have really come back, from the technical side. Thank you so much, Ayam, and thank you so much, Sheev. Yeah. Thank you.
Great, Prashant.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sheev. Thank you. Bye-bye. Yeah.
Bye. Bye.
Done.